Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Pisces. If Pisces is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, let's get started. So we have the 9 of discs, and that has everything to do with gain. So maybe some money. Money. All right, I want to look at this before we get started. It just fell off the thing. So it looks like it says 1,115. That came right off the bowl or the plate, one or the other. So we have 1,115. So maybe that is the amount of money, of resources coming in here pretty quickly. Now let's take a look and see what we have going on. It looks like we have... Now I'm reminded of the Fool immediately, right up here. And I just want to get that in there. I'm sorry if you can hear that really loud vehicle. My neighbor has a really loud vehicle. So sometimes... we can hear it in the background here. During the summer, it's wild here. It's like every loud, and I live in a small area, like a very kind of rural area, but it just, the hot rodding, it gets going. So we're getting into those nice months where we can just hear all the cars and stuff going. So we have also the heart over here kind of in this mountain. And I feel like there's almost this sense of being on a fool's journey, right? But not in the sense that it's for nothing or it's frivolous or anything like that. But I think it is kind of a time of letting go of some of your inhibitions and allowing yourself to kind of open your heart right up, enjoy the time that you're spending, doing the things that you love, maybe being with somebody you love or the people that you love, the work that you love, really feeling it deeply. And I feel like there's a sense of merriment here, a sense of just kind of being a little carefree and laughing a little bit more and smiling a little bit more and just kind of getting into the moment a little more deeply. And maybe that is that, I keep talking about this. We're in spring, we're in fall. The weather is changing. It's not as hot, it's not as cold. And I feel like in these middle months here, we are allowed to kind of let our hair down a bit, breathe a little bit deeper and enjoy being out among the beauty and I just feel like there's a little less anxiety. Now we've just come through that eclipse, right? And I know there's some retrogrades happening and some other stuff. There's always something going on. But I think this one has been very emotional for a lot of people, but I think it's been also quite cathartic to be able to not only feel the feelings, but just letting them out. On the day of the eclipse, I spoke to a few different people in my personal life who, were like, I'm feeling really emotional. And I think that I felt the same way, first of all, but from the comments I've been reading and, other places that I interact with people, I feel like it's the consensus. And hopefully as we kind of move away from this, just a beautiful sight to behold, right? This eclipse. But as we move away from it, maybe, we've poured out some of those stirred energies. I can imagine, a large pot full of boiling waters and just, the top on it going, and it starts to fizz up, and it's coming out the sides, and finally, we're able to release some of that pent up emotionality. And there was no hiding from it, was there? it just came, and hopefully, now we're back to being a little more grounded in this kind of love space, or just existing, existing without needing to weep every few minutes. Now let's see. What do we have going? So we have that horse up there, right here. Kind of looks like a horse, kind of looks like a duck. We also have, it looks like KM, maybe even Kim. With a little dot there. And it looks like somebody with a compass. We have a person standing here that you can see the head, and they're holding a compass right here, which is a drafting tool. And so I feel like, and there's a heart below them as well. So, and you can see it's kind of funny because this one's upside down, this one's right side up, and they balance each other out. So I do think that you are going into a place of planning. With the horse, we have movement, and I think you're really planning your next move. You're working on those blueprints. And I think that through this eclipse period of time, there's been some clarity here for you. I think that you really are kind of seeing some aspect of your life is just, I don't know, maybe it's become kind of stale. Maybe it just is not serving you well anymore. Maybe this is something that you have been trying to make work for a while, and coming to the realization that, listen, this is not gonna, I don't see this continuing on for much longer, right? And kind of deciding for yourself, like, yeah, I need to try something else. Even if it's scary, even if it is not what I had, hoped for. This situation that I'm in does not bode well for me in the long term, right? And maybe this is a relationship, maybe it is a living situation, it could be work, but I do think that you have been distracted from your goals a little bit. You've been distracted from maybe even your work within your career or your workplace. I almost wonder if it is maybe a relationship or a friendship. You've kind of, I don't know, even I imagine, maybe arguing, or maybe there's somebody that is kind of possessive of your time, or, whatever it is. I feel like it's kind of like you've been, and I'm not saying this is true, but it feels like being sucked into this kind of vortex of this intense situation where when it's good, it feels so good to have this person in your life, and they're fun, and they're available to you, and you feel like you get a lot of attention, and you give a lot of attention, and it all seems so perfect, but then it easily can shift into this place of kind of bickering, and maybe even kind of putting each other down, or being put down, and this element of yeah, feeling controlled, and maybe even feeling like you have no privacy. That's the thing that kind of comes through for me, is this idea of like, you know, that you have to share every aspect of your life with this person, which, I mean, even if you're married, I don't, you know, everybody deserves privacy. Everybody deserves space to, you know, not be witnessed. And, you know, the thing that comes to mind for me is this idea of like people having access to each other's like phones or computers or personal messages and stuff. And I understand the impulse. I mean, I'm a human being. I get it. You know, like I understand. But it also, I cannot imagine being in a relationship like that, you know, for myself anyways. And no judgment, but, you know, I don't know how healthy it is for people to not have spaces that are just for them, right? I think that this ultra, you know, sharing every part of every, you know, thing that you think and do and whatever, it sounds so romantic. It does. But then, you know, I think it's just, you get to a point where it's like, you know, what if you do want to take some space for yourself? And what if there, you know, there is this, you know, expectant kind of energy of, wow, now why do you want to do this without me? Or, you know, why can't I, you know, see everything you're doing or whatever. It's switching out of that seems like it would be difficult. So I do think, and, you know, I'm not going to say a judge, because I've been in relationships with people that, you know, just felt like that was normal, and it was not for me. It's not for me. You know, and I'm just one person. What do I know? But I do know I like my privacy. So, but I also like to choose to be transparent. You know, when you find somebody who you want to share with, that does not demand that you show them everything all the time and they can just, you know, whatever, but you want to show them. You want to have those conversations. You want to, you know, not have huge lives away from each other. Then you know that you found somebody that is a soul bond, right? And so I look at this and I'm thinking, you know, and I know how this feels. It's like, I need some space for myself. I need to figure out like what is going on here. I never thought I would end up in this kind of dynamic. And that's what it is, right? So often we end up in some situation like this and we look at ourselves and we think, I wasn't raised like this. I never expected that I would be this person. You know, the partner that I chose, I didn't, you know, get the feeling that they would ever be like this, that I would ever be like this. And then you have to really begin to kind of evaluate, like, is this for me? Is this really how I want to live long term? And now maybe it is that you want to live that way. And, you know, hey, if that's what it is, and it makes you, you know, feel, I think it's like safety maybe, or it is that kind of, you're really locked in with somebody. Or at least it feels like it, right? And if that's how it is, then you have to find the way that you want to live, right? And that's okay. You don't have to answer to anybody, do you? We don't. So, you know, but I do think that there is room here for kind of adjustment. And I feel that is something that is important to you. I also think that I could imagine if this is affecting your ability to work and stay focused at work, that needs to change for you, because I don't think that you, you know, I think that you're probably usually you're pretty good at what you do, right? And everybody goes through things in their life where, you know, sometimes our work is affected, definitely. But I do think that this is something that has to be considered before it really does kind of put you in a spot, right? And so, you know that though. And the horse tells me absolutely those energies are going to get moving. And I feel, you know, you advocating for yourself, definitely. Definitely. But there is that feeling of the activation of love. And I almost wonder, you know, maybe it is a release from the situation, and maybe this was all prior to now. But making kind of some boundaries, deciding you're not going to be in a dynamic like that, and the prosperity that comes from creating that space and the ability to kind of get into that full energy. Okay, let's see. I'm just kind of flipping around here. You can probably tell. I feel so, if I have been packing all day long, so I just feel burnt out. Something about packing just takes it out of you. It really does. I feel like I've been packing our studios in our house for ages. But it really is just because our work schedule is so wild, and I only have a certain amount of time every day to be able to pack. And my husband's been so busy, so I'm doing the packing of the whole house, and it just, and shout out to Dove and Serpentaro, my husband Paul over there. He's amazing. He's got a new jacket that is just fabulous. I love it. And I don't think he'd mind me telling you I picked it out for him. And it just is so, I was like, you're going to love it. It's so beautiful. And he looked at it and he thought, yeah, it's really cool. But then seeing it underneath the lights for filming and stuff, it's just so beautiful. And it looks gorgeous with his hair and everything. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm not going to get too deep into it, but yes. If you haven't seen it's kind of like a blue jacket with the kind of red embellishment things on it, and go check it out. He has the red shirt on with it, and I like it. All right, let's see. So we have this, it looks kind of like the crone in the middle here. And if you know about the archetypes of the goddesses or women in general, there are usually the three, and that is the maiden, and then the mother, which is the middle goddess, and then the third goddess, the elderly goddess, or the kind of old wise woman, is the crone. Okay, and arguably my favorite archetype, and one that I feel that I bask in, even though I know people, whenever I bring up that I feel old, I don't say it in a way that is negative, because for me, the way that my life has gone, getting old is a privilege, and I love the idea of becoming the crone. I love the idea of the crone being active in my world all the time, because this is a place of being quite grounded, of having seen so many things come and go in life. Still having that absolutely burning love for the people that you care for the things that bring passion to your life, for the world, and whatever the things within the world that kind of really speak to you. But there is a sense of being realistic about expectations and knowing that, with the good, there comes the bad. And nothing lasts forever, and that we might think of that's sad. I'm not one of those people. I know that life is ever changing. Nothing is in a fixed state. And so as things come and go in our lives, and we grieve them, and it's hard to let go. So they are forever, really, as time is only a construct. And ultimately, and this is hard. Sometimes it's very hard to kind of dwell in this perspective, but things must pass through our life so other things can enter it. And don't get me wrong, I'm a sentimental fool, I'm a romantic, I'm an absurdist, and everything else. But this archetype is one of a very fortified person. This is, the person that makes the tough decisions, but this is also the grandmother who you can lie your head in her lap and she holds you and she tells you stories and she loves you infinitely, infinitely. And who you learn from, who you can remember her laugh, who, you can imagine the way her eyes look when she smiles and all of these things. And so, as we head towards this part of our life, I say as a collective, so you become this person for other people. And, I often have read or heard people say or have been told that, you get to a certain age as a woman and you start to become a little invisible, or people don't pay attention to you in the same ways. And then as you get to be a little bit, into the golden years of your life, people really kind of, they don't pay attention to you at all, really. And that's always kind of, I can't understand that because all of the great women of my life have been older women, they've all been the absolute shining stars of the world for me. And where I have learned to love and where I've learned to be, mostly a pretty decent person. And I don't mean to, gas myself up like that, but yeah, a pretty decent person, I think. And just the experience of people who have lived and have been through some things, So this energy is strong. It is strong. And I wonder, is your grandmother on your mind? Are these women of your life on your mind? Do you hope to be, something in their image? Carry them with you and you pick the best aspects of each of them and emulate. I was like trying to think, emulate. Yes, that's the word. Those aspects, kind of becoming, not a composite of other people, but parts of them. Yeah. And, and so it is. Sometimes that's the best we can wish for. And hey, that is not too shabby. Not at all. So as I'm looking at this, we also have a 10. I keep staring at this 10 right here. We have a person here looking at the moon, looking at that eclipse, I wonder. Hopefully you all had a safe and I was going to say productive eclipse. Maybe you were out there setting your intentions, beginning your manifesting of this next period of time. I see a person here with that big heart. Now it's the same where it looked like the mountain, but I'm turning it this way. It kind of looks like Slimer too, or like a jack-o'-lantern. But I'm seeing it as this is the head, the body, there's the heart, and it's petting a dog right here. So I do feel like there's this turn towards like these simpler pleasures in life, but this big heart. You know, you have just a love within you. And I think that I hate to get into this too much because, if you don't resonate with it, I hope that you don't really, hopefully you're just like, this isn't my reading. But when you are a person who loves so much and generally, try to treat people as well as you can and do, do all the things in your life that you have been hoping to do, working towards your goals and staying focused on the things that are important to you and so on. And then you get into a relationship with somebody who, there's some conflict and maybe they're not a bad person at all, but within the heat of those disagreements or just misalignment and trying to figure out how to live with somebody or, alongside somebody. And it can make you feel like you're hard to love. It makes you feel sometimes like you're the problem here. And so often I don't think it's there's a problem. Of course, being in a relationship, it can accentuate some of our, our conditioning, our coping mechanisms that aren't the healthiest and add the stress of life and the things that we do together in relationships, marriage, buying, property, house, moving, kids and work and money and finances and household duties and, trying to stay in love with one another even when things are difficult. Trying to manage all that stuff. And it does. It can amplify parts of ourselves that need to be developed, right? But I think that also when you're misaligned with somebody, it really can affect you so deeply and make you feel like, why does this keep happening? Maybe this is other relationships as well. Am I really the problem here? Am I not, and I just thought like this, it's in my head. I thought, am I not worth loving? And these kinds of wild thoughts that in most other situations you would never even consider these things, right? It's sometimes we have to figure out a way to get outside of that relationship as far as how we're perceiving the bigger picture, how we're looking at ourselves and realize that, maybe this is just a misalignment. Maybe this is a relationship that needs therapy. Maybe this is a relationship that needs to go slower. And we have to figure some things out individually and together, right? And keep growing and evolving as beings. And sometimes it is that we've been in a relationship for so long and at times it's been wonderful, but we grow in different directions. And we have to be aware of, do we really want to grow back together? Is this what I really want? And if it's not, then that's okay. Of course, I'm not somebody who's like, oh, everybody should get divorced or, just separate at the first sign of problems. That's not what I'm saying. But I also think that when you know, you know. And forcing yourself to live in a life that is not yours, that it doesn't feel like yours anymore. It is somebody else's wants and needs, and you know, there, or it's just you're living in this life that you created, but you both have outgrown it, or the world has changed, or whatever it is. We should find a way to move through life and get back on track however we need to. And sometimes that means deciding that we have to go our own way. And, you know, if that's where you're at and you've been looking for a sign, then this is your sign, right? But also, if you're looking for a sign to keep going and trying to fix, you know, at least trying to heal some things, work together, communicate, this is also your sign, you know, because I'm all about that too. I'm not an easy person. I have a lot of like trauma issues. I have, my parents died when I was young, and when I was 11 and 12, and they died for reasons that were avoidable. And so there's like big abandonment issues there. And I'm not an easy person. My husband is a saint, by the way. You know, because he has been by far, you know, the ultimate partner of my life. And both of us have had to work through a lot of stuff. We've had to decide to, right? And we continue to. And it's not always easy. It's not. But, you know, it is worth trying to figure things out if it is still something that you are feeling, right? And yeah, so I understand, you know, and even, you know, I understand. I won't talk in circles anymore, but yeah, I feel like it feels like such an intense energy, just kind of, you know, trying to find a way to change things, but you know, as there are these like moments of big arguments and disagreements and feeling, you know, these big emotions and thinking, yeah, this is it. I need to go, you know, and then slowly, you know, the days go by and the clock kind of winds on, and the immediacy of that feeling, that clarity, it starts to dissipate a little bit, and you get into the lull of things again. You know, I know that cycle all too well. Thankfully, not so much in my relationship now. And I know that a lot of you know Paul, so I don't want to make it seem like that's the where I'm talking. I'm not pulling from this relationship, but you know, I understand that other dynamic quite well. I do. So let's go ahead. We have an H. We have an H right there. Let me look at it in here. It looks like he or ha. He or ha. He ha. And then we have a fish right below, so that it really just keeps being this emphasis on getting back to those resources, the abundance. We have two of the A's, so I'm going to say this is an A. And the H. So if you have an H name maybe, or somebody involved has an H name. And then we have the illuminated candle right up here. And so I feel, we have the corn as well up there. So I feel like there is, I feel like there's just this, kind of, I don't like what it, I feel like it's just, you get out there away from everything that is happening, and it's like such a lightness in your life. Like you just get back to your kind of joking and laughing and enjoying self. And there just seems to be this kind of darkness, maybe in the home. I feel like you avoid, and maybe it's not even avoid being home altogether, but you avoid part of the house. I feel like you stick to like maybe your room, or like the living room, or your office, or wherever it is in the home that is like kind of your space. And I just imagine you kind of like walling yourself off. Maybe like really involved in, I don't know, maybe like gaming, or maybe like being on YouTube and that kind of thing. And you're just kind of in your zone, trying to, if you know it or not, just trying to keep distracted and kind of dissociative of the environment. And so I feel like, to get to that energy, there has to be some kind of shift here. And I think you're so aware of it. And it's just like really a matter of trying to figure out how to, if you've already made that change, trying to stay consistent with it, not going backwards. Right. And also, I think just being brave is the big thing. I think that just being brave and feeling your feelings and knowing that they will wash over you, and at some point the tide will pull them out, right? And then you begin again. And I feel like if you are able to get to that point, there's that lightness, that full energy, that laughing and enjoying, and focused on work and making money and all of those things. All right, let's take a look at these Indigo Sage affirmation cards. This is the Air Element deck, and I'm going to go ahead and flip through, and I'll stop where it feels right. I'm going again. I'll do this one, but we're doing another one because I keep getting this one. I want to read a different one. Appreciation illuminates, embrace an absolute love of life without exception. Okay, and we're doing one more. I'm going to go through here. Closing my eyes. Here we go. Oh, yes. Nice. We have a ladybug, too. All right. It says, dissolve loneliness, align with joy to receive the energetic alliances you have pre-agreements with. Whew, pre-agreements. All right. Well, I guess you are out here with like your soul contracts, and you already have done some real big karmic work and set your life up in such a way that maybe these ordeals are coming to an end pretty soon, so that you can get into that joyfulness and that blissful soul agreement. I like that idea. I kind of energetic alliances. So energetic alignment, maybe bringing somebody new into your life, a soul partner, a soul bond with a friendship, an animal, maybe a new partner or whatever it is. All right, Pisces, I'm going to go ahead and say good night. It's been a long one here. Oh my goodness, it's already midnight. All right, so I'm going to tell you I love you because I do. I've become so fond of Pisces over this last year and a half or whatever I've been having the channel here. I love reading for you all. The readings are always like, I relate to them pretty deeply. And I don't know even where my Pisces placements are, but I just look forward to Pisces every time. So I want to thank you. And if you'd be so kind as to like the video, it does help the channel so much. And if you haven't subscribed, please think about doing that. It's free to subscribe. And what else? If you'd like to leave a comment, please do. I read them all. I'm a little behind because, like I said, I've been packing, like, just, it seems like a lot. I'm almost done, though. I'm almost done. Even my room sounds different in here because it's all echoey. But, yes, we'll be in the new studios pretty soon. And I'm excited. So anyways, again, I love you. Take care of yourself. We'll talk in just a few days. Good night, good night, good night.